So you're ready to build wealth and you've heard the answer is in stock investing, but you've got some questions. Where do I start? How do I keep my money safe? Well, I sat down with Darius Smith from wealthismyworth.com to answer your burning questions. This is a guide on stocks for beginners.
How do I start investing if I know nothing?
So if you know absolutely nothing about investing, the very first thing that you should do is figure out what's the low-hanging fruit. Especially for people in my audience, and I think your audience as well, who are like corporate professionals, people that have a job. Generally, you have something like a 401k, and the 401k will allow you to dip your toes in the market and just see what's out there and available. This is not the best option because you don't get a lot of options with choosing your holdings in your 401k, but it will expose you to what is available, what it's like to actually purchase, what it's like to have your money grow and shrink at times. And it'll also get you exposed to some of the, I guess the nuances that you see, but you haven't actually experienced. So outside of that, once you're doing this on your own and you're not using something employer sponsored, I would say that the very first step is to open an account. You can either open an IRA or a brokerage account. Let's just go with the brokerage account. It's simple, it's easy, anybody can do it. There's not very limitations. And it's just like opening a bank account. You open the bank account, you put some money into it, and then you look at what's available to you. From there, I would say, the next step I would say is get on Google and just look up some companies that you know, and start with looking up a company that you know. I'm going to go with Apple. I'm here using an Apple computer. I have an Apple phone. Most people are pretty familiar with their products. Apple's actually an excellent stock to purchase historically. So I would say if I were to do this and I was just getting started, I would look up what is Apple's ticker symbol, which is just the 3 or 4 digit code that represents the Apple stock. And then I believe it's AAPL, and you look up AAPL and see what its history is. You can look at the history, you can kind of dive into the information that's available. Usually Yahoo Finance is great. You can also do it within whichever app that you decide to, app or bank account that you decide to invest in. If you're just getting started, it will all look like a whole different language. It's okay. But actually executing your first transaction is going to be like an excellent experience. So that's exactly how I would start. The only thing I would change is maybe Apple just being a little bit of a larger purchase might not be your first one. It depends on how much money you start with and how much you want to invest. But if you don't have hundreds, maybe you want to start with something a little bit smaller that's like less than $50. So again, I would look up a handful of different companies that I'm familiar with, mostly because you don't want to invest in places you don't know. You don't want to go in blind, even if someone else is telling you. If a friend is telling you this is a really hot stock and you need to get on it, I wouldn't do it just based off of what someone says. Do some research, but the best research is whatever information you already have in your head about, things that you use or are familiar with.